Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Tonight on Our News, how government will tackle marital rape with new legislation, how government revenue stacks up against projections, a ballpark figure for completing the National Baseball Stadium, plus a Dorian survivor gets a new place to call home. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, a gender-based violence bill the government plans on tabling during this term in office will address marital rape, according to State Minister for Social Services Lisa Ramming, who addressed media at the office of the Prime Minister today.
It doesn't specifically say marital rape, but it's all-inclusive. It includes everyone, all-inclusive.
Does it include everyone?
Well, you would see it in section 2, what addresses what is gender-based violence, and it tells you who's included, and everyone is included. Everyone. Husband, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, everyone.
In 2018, during an appearance before the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, Switzerland, then Attorney General Carl Bethel said the government intended to criminalize marital rape. Shortly after coming to office last year, Prime Minister Philip Davis told the media the issue was not a key item on his agenda. He later tweeted, "Marital rape is wrong," and added an effort to change the law should be part of a larger national conversation. Asked when the gender-based violence bill will be tabled, Ramming said she could not give a timeline.
There are many moving parts, and they want to make sure it's right. And please, it's not because of us not being ready and being delinquent in passing these bills or having them right. It's because the truth is the Attorney General's office at this time has shortage of attorneys, and so we're working on that. So we're working with what we have, and so we're looking forward to bringing this bill on.
The Office of the Prime Minister later sought to clarify Ramming's statement, saying these changes were not legislative proposals as yet, just what the minister wants to see happen. OPM says it had not been brought to cabinet. The statement insisted that the proposal does not speak to marital rape, but it does speak to abuse in various relationships, including marriages. Well, the government's 6-month report on fiscal performance is showing positive signs for the economy, according to Minister of Economic Affairs Michael Halkitis. Jasmine Brown reports.
Halkitis detailed those figures as he answered questions from the press during that weekly Office of the Prime Minister press briefing, and he insists the Davis administration remains optimistic about its fiscal performance. Halkitis says one of the biggest takeaways from the report is that revenue is way up.
Preliminary estimates for the first 6 months, revenues have outpaced projections by approximately $162 million. Revenue collections totaled $1.137 billion, an increase of $465 million over the same period in the year prior.
Halkitis credited the increase in revenue to the rebounding of the economy and an increase in stopover arrivals and hotel occupancy rates. When it comes to expenditure,
aggregate expenditure declined by $1.2 million. As the government continued to contain expenditure, and the midterm deficit, the deficit at the half year, is estimated to be at $269 million, a $467 million decrease from the deficit of $736 million in the same period last year.
While the Davis administration has patted itself on the back, credit rating agency Moody's is calling the government's revenue growth expectations in the Ministry of Finance's strategy report and medium-term debt management strategy overly optimistic. Moody's also noted that if the government's efforts to improve revenue collection efficiency fail to meet the mark, it could turn to tax increases.
You have Dorian and COVID, and so you say you have projections and you have plans, but anything can happen, including another wave, another hurricane, asteroid, and so you have to just be cautious. And what you do is, we see positive indicators coming out of these reports, but that doesn't mean that we're totally out of the woods. or that we can drop our prudential standards. And so all we do is we continue to manage.
While Halkitis says things are trending in the right direction, he admits officials are remaining cautiously optimistic. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Prime Minister Philip Davis defending his administration's 4 months in office amid criticism over its legislative agenda. Davis telling parliamentarians last night it seems the Free National Movement is still licking its wounds. Bethany McDermott reports.
We are pursuing our agenda, not the F&M agenda.
Prime Minister Philip Davis defended his government's 4 months in office as he fended off attacks from the Free National Movement. Davis criticized the former administration's time in office and argued that his government is pushing the New Day agenda. His comments came as he wrapped up debate on a resolution to acquire and transfer land to a hotel operator looking to purchase and further develop a hotel on New Providence. Davis touched on several areas he counted as successes. He stressed the need to strike a balance between saving lives and preserving the economy.
What good is it to save lives when livelihoods are also on the chopping block? You have to do the right balance. Because you could save my life, but I could end up being hungry. I can't eat because there's nothing there for me.
Davis was responding to opposition leader Michael Pintard and former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who accused the government of having no real legislative agenda. During his contribution to the debate, Pintard questioned how much time is needed to bring a series of legislation to address issues faced by Bahamians. But the Prime Minister said it appears some F&Ms are still licking their wounds following their election defeat.
Many are still disappointed to be where they are sitting now. And I understand that you have to, sometimes this decompress. You need to find ways and means of finding solace for oneself, and perhaps this is their outlet for that purpose.
As of Wednesday, no legislative measures were on Parliament's agenda. The government tabled 4 bills, 3 pension bills, and the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute bill. Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
Meanwhile, the Bahamas Public Service Union is seeking legal advice after a high school security officer died while on duty. Bethany McDermott has that.
The Bahamas Public Services Union is up in arms and is considering legal action after a security officer at St. George's High School in Grand Bahama died while on duty Monday morning. According to Union President Kingsley Ferguson, the union is taking issue with the fact that the man was at his post alone, which contravenes the industrial agreement.
Our agreement between the Bahamas Public Services Union and the government of the Bahamas, which is Article 37.5, which suggests that where a property is manned for 24 hours, a minimum of 2 guards per station should be scheduled to work.
Police confirmed that the victim called 911 expressing that he was having trouble breathing, but by the time EMS personnel arrived, he was already dead. The incident is being classified as a sudden death.
While I'm understanding that the death is related to natural causes, had there been 2 individuals on that particular compound, it is a likelihood that one individual could have summoned emergency services and the individual could have received some care that could have saved the individual's life.
The BPSU president said this isn't the first time an incident like this occurred and nothing was done. He said the issue was previously raised with education officials with no resolve. Following this latest incident, Ferguson said he again raised the concern.
But I want to express again in a vehement way to the Ministry of Education that the agreement be adhered to ensure the safety of those individuals employed on the various compounds.
When contacted, State Education Minister Zane Lightburn said he was unaware of the situation. Calls to Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin were unsuccessful up to press time. Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
The Davis administration will find the funds to complete the construction of the Andre Rogers National Baseball Stadium from multiple sources, according to Minister of Economic Affairs Michael Halkitis, who gave an update on the costly project during today's press briefing at the office of the Prime Minister.
From the general government funds.
Can you elaborate a bit more?
No, I mean, no. There's a consolidated fund. There's not a particular. But what will happen is Ministry of Works has come to the government and said that we need these additional funds to complete the stadium, and so the government has agreed that we'll complete the stadium, so we'll make funds available. There's not one particular source. Like we'll not say, okay, we'll go and get a loan to do it, or the government will provide it out of its funds.
Of the $31 million needed to complete the Andre Rogers National Baseball Stadium, $17.9 million is needed to complete the main building alone. Outstanding works add up to $24.7 million. A 15% contingency and a 10% VAT brings the total to $31 million. The original budget for construction of the stadium was $27.48 million, but more than $27.44 million has already been spent.
You have X amount, I think it's either $24 or $27 million already invested in it, all right? And so you look at it, do you leave that in the ground and leave it there, or do you seek to complete it and monetize it and make it an income generator? And I think that the idea is that with the interest in baseball and with the success of our young people and getting scholarships, et cetera, that the best option be let's complete it. I understand that there are, already several tournaments, world-renowned tournaments in the pipeline to come upon completion. So the idea is instead of leaving it with that money in the ground, let's complete it and let's seek to utilize it.
The 2021-22 budget does not allocate funding for its completion. Another clear night ahead. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with the latest. Good evening, Greg.
Thanks, Christina. Our first look at weather tonight is being brought to you by Ports International, trusted medical supplies for a better quality of life. Warm conditions outside our studios, comfortable though, temperatures in the low to mid 70s, 73 with mostly clear skies. Your winds are out of the east-southeast at 9 miles per hour, and your feels-like temperature a comfortable 71 degrees. Satellite view, quiet around the area. That high-pressure ridge remains in charge of our weather, generating some brisk east to southeasterly winds, and a couple of patchy clouds moving across us, generating a few isolated showers. But all in all, a nice evening setting up for us on the outdoors. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, what the Labor Director has to say about disengaged urban renewal workers. Plus, a Dorian survivor's prayers are answered. That's coming up when our news returns. "66 former urban renewal employees who were sent home under the former government were compensated last month, according to Labor Director Robert Farquharson. Cale Campbell reports.
They have received all statutory entitlements, have been paid to them, and all that matter is now dead. The matter has been withdrawn from the tribunal, and all of the employees had signed deeds of releases, releasing any claim from the government of the Bahamas.
Following a request made by Minister of Social Services and Urban Renewal, Owe Wilcombe, to investigate the matter, an independent investigation was conducted by the Ministry of Labour, which determined that the former employees were terminated without any compensation. As a result of that investigation, we concluded that there were 66 employees of the urban renewal in Grand Bahama, Abaco, Illuch, and Cat Island, who were terminated contrary to the
the Employment Act and were not paid any compensation.
26 of the workers who were dismissed filed trade disputes with the Department of Labor in Grand Bahama.
At the request of myself, the Director of Labor, we intervened on behalf of the Governor of Bahamas and requested that the Industrial Tribunal suspend the hearings until me in my capacity as Director conducted an independent investigation. Our independent investigation concluded that those employees were wrongfully dismissed, and after consultation with the Office of the Attorney General, I made a recommendation to my minister that they should be properly compensated.
Reporting for our News, I'm Cale Campbell.
In other news, 2 years after her home was destroyed during Hurricane Dorian, single mother's prayers have been answered. The Rotary Club presented her with the keys to her new home in West End, Grand Bahama. Here's Berthany McDermott.
Wow. God answered my prayers. Wow. Oh Lord, I just don't know what to say. God is so good. I am very thankful of y'all.
A grateful Lakia Bethel received keys to what she called her new home in West End 2 years after monster Hurricane Dorian ravaged Grand Bahama.
We would like to present to you, Tina, the keys to your brand new home.
The home was constructed by the Rotary Club in Grand Bahama and was funded by an anonymous donor. Area Governor Billie Jane Ferguson said this generous donation was the result of one phone call.
This project started with a phone call from a Rotarian, as a matter of fact, a member of the Rotary Club of Lucaya, who called and she said, have a look at this. There's a GoFundMe page going on for Tina. She called her Tina. And if it's possible, I would like for us to assist her. The funds came in and I met with the team, the Rotary Disaster Relief Committee, and I presented the proposal to them, and they happily said a resounding yes to you, Tina.
The All Clear made way for Rotary to tear down Bethel's old home and construct this new one. This is the 19th home built by the Rotary Club in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian. The organization has also repaired more than 1,000 homes. The Rotary Club normally constructs 80% of the home. The final 20% is usually left up to the homeowner, but thanks to the generosity of the wider community, Bethel and her son's prayers have been answered.
Rotary homes are built to 80%, and that 80% includes the structure of the home, the windows, the doors, making sure that the plumbing is in but not tied into the septic tank, and we make sure of the home being in livable condition. But because of God's favor for you, Tina, the team decided that they're going to go an extra step and they're going to solicit the funding to complete the 20%.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Up next on Our News, the cast of a children's show meets the Prime Minister and a big night for Buddy Heald. The details when Our News returns. This is Our News. Welcome back. Weeks after RTV Originals show Goombay Kids won yet another international award, several members of the cast and creators visited the office of the Prime Minister today. Show creator and executive producer Stephanie Neon and producer Rowena Poitier Sutherland.
We are just, bursting with national pride, basically. And we really hope that the show can, continue to thrive and do well. And this is a great time for any potential companies to get involved and help us make this dream continue to get bigger and better.
This is a 100% Bahamian production. No one flew in to shoot this, from the caterers to the makeup person to the actors to the production team, 100% Bahamian. It is a training ground in real time for Bahamian professionals in television.
Rev Media Vice President David Burrows says the show reflects RTV's interest and investment in local programming.
Rev Media began this journey in 2019 to invest in local TV productions developed by and for Bahamians. We have already invested over $1 million and more than 15 original Bahamian TV series to make this dream come true. Goombay Kids was the very first program that we worked on from the ground up, from the original pitch to 3 full seasons, and now beginning our 4th. We are incredibly proud of Stephanie Neon and her team for taking this series to such heights.
The children's show has won 6 international awards, including the Cannes World Film Festival Awards for Best Web TV Series and Best Producer. In sports tonight, a bounce-back performance by Buddy Hield leading to a rare Kings victory. Here's Marcellus Hall.
All right, thanks and welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Buddy Hield and his crew back in action last night. Buddy and the Kings hoping for a bounce-back performance after a disappointing loss in their previous game. Let's see how this one turned out, as Buddy at least turned up to play. Buddy Hield, Sacramento Kings at home last night taking on the Brooklyn Nets. This one actually turns out to be pretty good, as the Kings able to outlast the favorite Nets 112-101. That's the Nets' 6th loss in a row. So talk about fertility, as they and the Kings have been struggling as of late. Difference is Brooklyn, of course, with huge championship aspirations. Sacramento, not so much, but they do get the job done last night, winning at home. And taking a look at Buddy's stats, he again, in his typical fashion, coming off the bench, 27 minutes, had 18 points. Just 1 rebound, but had the shooting stroke going a bit last night. 7 of 16 shooting for 43% from the floor. As far as his 3-point shooting, made 3 of his 9 shots there, 33%. Good outing for Buddy Hield. Kings pick up a big win. So the Kings, again, their next game comes your way on Thursday when they take on the Golden State Warriors. They'll be traveling to Golden State for this one. But a nice win for the Sacramento Kings. Their record now improves to 19-34 on the year. And that's indeed your look at sports here on this Thursday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
Still ahead, Rotarians roll out the red carpet for Columbus primary students. Stay with us. Welcome back to our news. Sunshine straight into next week. Greg is back with our extended forecast.
Thanks again, Christina. Welcome back, everybody, for our second look at weather. That ridge of high pressure extending out of the Atlantic across our area, keeping us breezy and quiet. Couple of patchy clouds as a frontal boundary still hanging out near the Hispaniola area, generating a few cloudy conditions across the southeast Bahamas, as well as some isolated showers. That easterly breeze bringing in some Atlantic moisture, so a couple of spotty showers occurring across the islands today. But that high pressure will remain in charge for us into the weekend. Winds are going to be coming down slightly to cautionary levels, and boating should be improving as the weekend approaches. Boating conditions for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the east to southeast, becoming more southeasterly tomorrow at 15 to 20 knots. Sea is very rough, 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. Your high tide will be at 9:44 tonight. For the southeast Bahamas, easterly flow at 15 to 20 knots. Seas will be running at 4 to 7 feet over the open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Thursday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody. Christina?
Thanks, Greg. The Rotary Club of Southeast Nassau rolling out the red carpet for students of Columbus Primary School this morning. Students returned to campus for face-to-face learning.
The whole premise behind this is to show kids how exciting it is to be back in school, for them to get that feeling that they've supported, that we're encouraging them to go ahead into their sort of educational aspirations and to take this challenge on.
Rotarians handed out school supplies to the students who have attended classes virtually for nearly 2 years.
The students get to interact with positive role models, and they can aspire to do the same things that they're doing. Our early art club, our students are excited to be a part of it, and they get to not only receive the goods from the club, but they also get to provide service.
Before we go, the R News family is wishing a big happy birthday to a man with a big personality, our technical manager, Valdez Ferguson. We wish you many more years of life, love, and success. Enjoy your day, Vals. Well, that does it for us here at R News Tonight. I'm Christina Dragovich. Thanks for joining us. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.